Hi everyone, I'm gonna start by saying that I'm a big fan of Diablo 2. I used to play it with my friends back when I was younger and we had a blast with it. I put hundreds if not thousands of hours in it, and for me, it's a game full of nostalgia. A game that offered a truly fun experience. Now, let's get to Diablo 4. Firstly, I just want to say that I'm going to talk about this game from a casual gamer perspective. As I'm older now, and even though I would like to spend more time mid-maxing my character, if the game doesn't offer me a fun experience, I will straight up not put my time into it. Also, there is no way to talk about Diablo 4 without any spoilers, so be warned. Now, my opinion of the game is a bit mixed, and let me explain why. I truly had fun playing this game, and I've put over 70 hours in it, but I can't help but compare it with its predecessor, Diablo 2, that was released over 20 years ago, and all I'm seeing is a lower quality game with better graphics. The story wasn't that good. It does have its moments, but the cinematics is what made those good moments come to life. This is a Diablo game that doesn't focus on Diablo, and because of that, I think it suffers in terms of impact. Lilith, the main villain of this game, is indeed a complex character, but she doesn't give the same vibe as the other prime evils, Baal, Mephisto, and Diablo. Except from running across the map to either kill or talk to an NPC, there's nothing else to the main story. The overall story itself is bland and mediocre. It's nothing we haven't seen from previous Diablo games. The characters are the best aspect of the story, but the journey itself, it's not that enjoyable. Get this, go there, kill that, talk to that character, and so on. It's the same for the side quests. Now, even if the story wasn't that good, if Blizzard would have included some dialogue choices and paths that you could have chosen to take, basically giving you, the player, the option to interact and choose how the story would go, it could have made the game way better. As an example, they could have let you choose to either join Lilith or join Mephisto just before the end. This option to choose your own path would have made the story and the game itself more interactable and more enjoyable to play. It also could have opened the doors for all the players to try to replay the entire campaign again and take the other path. Now let's talk about the open world aspect of the game. Firstly, they nailed the vibe and the dark artistic style that the original Diablo 2 had. And I love that the world map has so many biomes, as you can go from a snowy area to a desert one, to a forest one, and even a swamp. They really put a lot of work into creating a visually beautiful world. But for such a big world, sadly, I feel it's empty. Yes, there are a lot of monsters or human characters to fight, but that's all there is to it. There are a lot of events happening in the world like world bosses and hell tides, but in all of them, you do the same thing over and over again, and that is fighting and killing forgettable monsters. It's fun the first hours, but it gets really boring the more you play. At the lower levels, when you get better items and skills, you can see a big difference in your power and the overall gameplay. But in the later game, after grinding for hours and finally getting that legendary item, you can barely see a small improvement. Because of this, a lot of players, myself included, have stopped playing this game as it's too repetitive and the rewards for putting so many hours doesn't give a satisfying result. I would have loved if they have included some mechanics for the world, like some puzzles to unlock new dungeons, or animals to interact with, like petting them or collecting them, or different type of traversing mechanics, like in the latest Zelda or Star Wars Survivor game, that was giving you creative ways to traverse the world. And don't tell me that the horse is that mechanic, because it's the same as walking but slightly faster. And the horse path mechanic is horrible. He's getting stuck at every corner. Instead of just adding different skins to the horse, they could have added different abilities to them. Like one of them could have a jumping ability to jump over the barricades or even monsters. Another could have a skill to slow enemies around it, or giving the horse a small inventory to carry more items. Even more, they could have added horseback fighting like in the Elden ring. They could have also introduced your own room, where you could have displayed your favorite weapons or trophies for others to see. This room could have been at your profile display. Or they could have added collectible artifacts or cards found throughout the world. Or hunting mechanics different from the brainless killing of monsters, where you had to track the prey before catching it or killing it. Or maybe add a card game like Gwent from the Witcher game. They could have added so many things, not necessarily the ones I mentioned, but any new mechanics would have made the world a bit more interesting and more lively to explore. They did not innovate at all with this game. It is the same old Diablo 2, just with better graphics. The same game in over 20 years. A good example of a game design is Elden Ring. Everyone was saying that it's the same as all the other Dark Souls games before it, but I strongly disagree. The developers made the game in the image of the old ones, but made it open world and improved on every aspect of it. In the Diablo 4 case, Blizzard took the idea to make it open world, but all they did was remove the loading screens between the biomes. We already had this world in the previous Diablo games, but now we can traverse it on foot or on horseback without any loading screens. Great! So glad I don't have to wait for a loading screen. I really hope that they don't think that we're that stupid. If you haven't guessed it, let me spell it out for you. The open world is an illusion. Now, it takes longer to traverse the map than to wait for a loading screen. And if you use a portal, you still get the loading screen. So even the concept of an open world is just an illusion. I tried PvP as well, and it does have a spark of something great, but it's not that engaging. You basically do the same content as the rest of the game, where you just farm some seeds from killing some monsters, and with those you can buy some cosmetics. The only difference is that in this area, you can attack or be attacked by other players. Unfortunately, you don't get any rewards for battling other players. The world bosses look nice, but as gameplay and mechanics is the same as all the other bosses, just scaled up. If you're thinking that they offer better loot, they don't. It's the same as all the end bosses from the dungeons. Now, the performance is decent, but it does have server lags from time to time, and when it does, you can easily die if you're in the middle of a pack of monsters. Now, if I'm being honest, I've actually had fun playing this game, because Blizzard has finally delivered a game that gives the same vibe as its older games that they used to deliver. I'm referring to the combat of the game. It's very addictive. It has that hook that makes you want to get higher and higher levels, to climb the tiers and achieve perfection in a randomized world. Yes, I said randomized, and what I mean by that is that the game's most addictive element is that you never know what you can get. Each item has different stats and abilities, or affixes as they call it, and each of them can change the way you build and play your character. There are a lot of builds, but all of them are influenced by the items you get. And the item stats are always random, because they included the option to respec your character. You can try different builds each time you get a different item. Yes, it requires a lot of in-game money and resources, but that's just the grind and the fun of it. I played as a rogue, and my build constantly changed every time I found a different item. I started as a close-range assassin that was stabbing enemies around me. Then I went for a range build that was firing arrows like a machine gun. And later I have made a build that is similar to a sniper that shoots a nuclear attack, destroying everything in my path. But even though at first I had lots of fun, in the later game, because of the repetition I had to do and the low increments of power that I have received from playing hours upon hours, did not feel satisfying enough for me. You can finish the entire campaign at around level 40. And after, it's just dungeons after dungeons, grinding to get better items and higher level. But that's it. There is nothing else to keep my interest in the game. And that is fine if this game was released 10 years ago. But nowadays, in 2023, if Blizzard wants to attract more players and keep them engaged into the game for longer times, they really need to start innovating. In order to attract a wider audience, I think they need to add new mechanics, a more original story, and more things to do in the open world. Doing the same game as they did 20 years ago with a few more quality of life improvements and better graphics is not enough to grow. The only people who will probably still continue to play this game after they finish the campaign will be the older fans, people who used to play the older Blizzard games, people who are trying to recreate the nostalgia that Diablo 2 or even Diablo 3 gave them. These type of players are few in numbers, and if Blizzard sees that their player base is dropping, they will stop supporting this game. They did this in the past with other games like Heroes of the Storm as an example. So, in conclusion, my opinion is that Diablo 4 is just Diablo 2 with better graphics. The open world is just an illusion, as we already had the same world back in Diablo 2, just separated by loading screens. Yes, it's a decent game, but it's really outdated and full of microtransactions. It will never be Game of the Year material. I think this game should have been delivered 10 years ago, not now. It has enough content to justify the price. I only wish it would have been a game worthy of its time. Blizzard said that they will invest in this game for years to come, so it might get better with future seasons. But I think it will be too late, as each season less and less people play the game. And so far the new season barely gave anything new. Even the monsters were the same monsters from the base game with different skins. They also announced the new expansion, Vessel of Hatred, and I really hope that they will bring a new game with this expansion. They really need to deliver a new experience to keep newer and older players hooked in the game. If all they add with these new expansions are more items and maybe a new class, the game will not grow. They need to at least do a better story than the one we have. We really need that wow factor, and not from the cinematics but from the in-game experience. And that's it. If you like this video, consider subscribing, and if you have a different opinion than me or simply have any questions, leave them in the comments. Thank you, and I'm out.
I must leave it to you to discover other formulae.